Happy Thursday, my loves. Hope you are doing well, soul family. All right, taking care of yourself. Hope you rested well last night. My prayers to those of you that are in Florida, that are enduring the storm there. We are holding space for you as your soul family, praying that you are safe and that you have the things that you need, okay? So family, I think I mentioned in another video, I am rereading my book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Every time I say his name, I think I'm butchering it, which means I probably am. But Holy Spirit highlighted two of the agreements. There are many times Holy Spirit will have me reread books I've already read because I have books everywhere. I mean, yeah, most readers do. There are books everywhere on all types of subjects. But Holy Spirit highlighted something for me, two of the agreements specifically. I think I talked about the other, don't take anything personally, in another video. But the fourth agreement the third agreement is don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. And when we make assumptions, soul family, we call suffering. Suffering for ourselves, suffering for others. And before you say, oh, I don't make assumptions, let's just move right on into that. Everyone makes assumptions. And we do it very unconsciously because we are ingrained in our thinking. We are habitual in our thinking. We are not clear communicators. When you don't communicate clearly, then it's a breeding ground for others to assume. And then there's a tendency to become upset when someone assumes something, but there hasn't been clear communication. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. You hear me a lot talk about these divine connections we're moving into, sacred unions we're moving into. Assumptions will kill a relationship. Okay, let's just say you've met someone and you really you're vibing very well with that individual. You really see a lot of potential with that individual. But at the time that you meet them, you're not ready for a relationship. Okay, but you don't communicate that clearly. All right, so what you do is you use that, you keep that individual kind of, and you hold them in a space. Let me explore all these other things over here. Okay, as you are doing that, the person you're really connected to sees things. Okay, whether it be on your social media, whether it be through word of mouth, they see things or they hear things, or somebody else tells them something that they saw on your social media. Okay, because in effect, you have an individual that is focused on you, but you're actually not focused on them. So when they see that you're presenting that you're with someone else, they move on. That is not what you wanted to communicate, and what actually happened was assumption on both ends. You may have assumed the person would stay put long enough for you to figure out if you really wanted to be with them or if they really were the best for you. You were exploring your options. You did not communicate that. So you assumed they would stay put and that they would never know what you were doing. And they found out. Then they assumed when they saw all of what you were presenting or what someone shared with them that you were presenting, that you were already in a romantic connection. So they moved on with other people as well. There was a loop of assumption going on here, and nobody is communicating clearly what's really going on. Okay? It kills your connections. All right, I'm going to give you another example because you're wanting to build healthier, more conscious connections. Move away, soul family, for doing things to try to make your partner jealous or make them pay attention to you by giving them the impression or presenting anything that would make them think you're doing things with other people that you would do with them, or that you have designated that you do with them, but you're doing it with other people. There's nothing special about your connection. You're presenting that there's nothing special about your connection. You're just like everybody else. You're just an average like everybody else. To make them jealous or to get a reaction. That is emotional manipulation, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there. We are not manipulators, so family. Okay? And when we do things like that, all right, you kill your relationship. Okay? So you may do something to try to make someone jealous, but it may actually make someone turn away from you that you really want to be with because you haven't clearly communicated. So family, we're in a time of brutal honesty, okay? Integrity, all right? Character. If there is something that is on your heart to say, communicate it, and communicate it clearly. That is in your business connections, your friendships, your romantic connections. If it's something that you're holding back because you've assumed the individual is going to say this, or if I tell them this, they're going to say this. You don't know that. This is something that an affirmation that I began to say when Holy Spirit highlighted those two agreements for me to really ground in. The affirmation that I created was, Holy Spirit, I thank you that I know nothing until you reveal the truth. Holy Spirit is a revealer of the truth. And that means I don't know anything. So I don't care what I see, I'm not assuming. I can't assume that it's a good thing. I can't even assume that it's a bad thing, because assuming creates suffering. When we assume, there's a story attached to it. An assumption goes both ways. There is, listen, very few and far between is there ever a time when you assume something about somebody, okay, and they haven't assumed something about you. It's a loop, and it is a created loop, because we are pulling to ourselves like things. So if you are an assuming person, you're pulling into your energy a person that assumes as well. Both of you are assuming, okay? You may not be assuming the same things, but you are assuming. The way you break that cycle is to stop the assumptions, and they can be stopped. You practice it every day. You create an affirmation, all right? Holy Spirit, I thank you that I know nothing except you reveal the truth. All right, which means you're going to have to clearly communicate. If you're struggling in the area of communication, all right, for fear, all right, learn how to be brutally authentic and honest. This is the time of authenticity. With authenticity comes honesty. If there's something you need to say, you say it, okay? And I know it's like, well, just say it. Don't assume the person won't receive it or will receive it. Just say it. You don't gauge the reaction of another. You don't know what someone else is going to do when you reach out to them, or when you have something. You can't assume they're going to be this way or they're going to be that way. That's an assumption, and that's creating suffering within you. You assuming that something is going to happen based on the story you've created is actually creating suffering within you. So family, we can stop creating suffering for ourselves by not making assumptions and clearly communicating. I'll see you on the next download. Toodles.